let's start. Tashidele, and welcome everybody. Welcome to our monthly Teaching of the Month session. Today we have the big honor to have Khenpo Sonam Tsewang with us to teach on Fulfilling All Wishes, a wonderful and pithy text by Guru Rinpoche. And thank you all for coming. Also, we have translations into Chinese, French, and Russian. And what else? I think, yeah, that's it. And I would like to hand over to Albion Butters, who is one of our senior editors in this program and who recently, rightfully so, got promoted to be the managing editor. And yeah, so please, Albion, please introduce Khenpo and today's session.
Thank you, Arne. Hello, everybody. It's my honor today to introduce Khenpo Sonam Tsewang, who will be teaching today. And I'd like to begin by clarifying that this teaching formally would require a empowerment. So it is requested that those of you who do not yet have an empowerment, a Guru Rinpoche empowerment, it can be any form of Guru Rinpoche, that you kindly excuse yourself from this teaching. And as I presume it's being recorded, such time that you do receive the empowerment, it would then be available to you. So I just wanted to clarify that in the beginning. And then to introduce Khenpo Sonam Tsewang. I am happy to know you as far as working together in KBP as one of the traditional scholars for the Khyentse Vision Project. He's been extremely helpful in clarifying difficult points of translation and texts in Khyentse Wangpo's corpus on a different range of issues. And it's from my personal experience is the freshness that you've been able to provide in terms of outside ways of thinking, making the Tibetan very accessible for Western minds in a fresh way. I just wanted to say that that's something that I've been finding very helpful. And in terms of your background, I should give a little brief context that he received degrees from the Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies in Sarnath, and then Lingagur Nyingma Institute in Bailakuppe in southern India, that was started by Gyapche Pema Norbu. And he has translated and published various books. I'm looking forward actually to reading one, How to Follow a Spiritual Master, interested in researching this. And it's an example perhaps of a section in there exactly targeting for Westerners to how to help them understand a traditional context. And so I think this joining of the traditional and then the modern, where we are in the West, is something that you can hopefully shed light on today as well. So without further ado, thank you very much for joining us today.
And let's briefly do some prayers, Khenpo, and then the mic is all yours and the stage. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha sublime, we seek refuge until awakening. By virtue of our giving and the like, may we awaken to benefit all. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha sublime, we seek refuge until awakening. By virtue of our giving and the like, may we awaken to benefit all. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha sublime, we seek refuge until awakening. By virtue of our giving and the like, may we awaken to benefit all.
Ah, oui, est-ce que vous entendez le français maintenant?
The blessing of Manjushri appearing as the emanation of Vimalamitra, the 13th rebirth of Gyaltse Laje, Pema Dongak Lingpa, holder of the 7 special transmissions, Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo, to you we pray. The earth is perfumed with scented water and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon, imagining this as the Buddha realm I offer it, so that all beings may enjoy the pure realm, Ilangu Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayam. In accordance with the capabilities and the diverse aspirations of sentient beings, we ask you to please turn the wheel of Dharma, of the greater, lesser, or conventional vehicles. Thank you so much. And Khenpo Lab, please teach us.
Yunden sanje kunda nyamna kadin sanje kune labe kun zawe lame shala soade nelu tongwa kewar chinge lo. I hope everyone is kind of hearing me. Yeah, okay, wonderful. So before I begin to explain on the text, first of all, I would like to thank Khyentse Vision Project for inviting me here to share my understanding and thoughts on this very beautiful text. I have the honor to work with a few translators from Khyentse Vision Project, and I think they are doing a very wonderful job. And I really like the project because, you know, just focusing on Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo's works, like priceless works, there are so many beautiful texts there, sadhanas, instructions, liturgies, different kind of genres, and coming from such a great master. And I'm so honored to actually try to read this text with you and share what I can understand from this text. The subject actually is quite deep because, you know, if you look, read the text, we will come to know that it involves the 2 things mainly. The first one is it's related to Guru Yoga, which is central to the practice of the unsurpassable Tantra, specifically the highest within all the teachings. So in that way, it is very important, significant. And then since this Guru Yoga is related to, you know, as you find like in a universal kind of way, that all the Guru Yogas related to, particularly in the Nyingma tradition, related to, mostly to, you can say, Guru Rinpoche. And then at the colophon of the text, you'll find that when Khyentse Wangpo wrote this, what he had in mind was to combine these 2 elements of Guru Yoga and the essence of the seven chapter supplication, which actually kind of summarizes the main kind of activities and qualities of Guru Rinpoche. Liu Duma is the 7 chapter supplication is very famous, and not only within the Nyingma tradition. I think in Tibet at one point, everybody was kind of reading this text, you know, who had faith in Guru Rinpoche, respect to Guru Rinpoche. And therefore in Liu Duma, you can find, if you read, because now the translations are kind of available, that you can find, like if you slowly read from beginning to the end, so interesting aspect of the qualities of Guru Rinpoche, historically and beyond history. So beyond history is when we talk about Guru Rinpoche is the essence of the three kayas, and in him all the yidams, all the deities, all the protectors, everything is kind of included in him. He is the source of all refuge and so forth, right? So you can find these both qualities. So it's so kind of important. So if you really want to know about Guru Rinpoche, the study of 7 chapter supplication is a must. And on top of that, because the 7 chapter supplication, which actually was revealed by Tebten Sangpo Thakpa, as you can find in the translation, there is a shorter version by Tebten Nyangral Nyima Veser, so which actually is kind of quite handy, like it's kind of easy to grasp. Okay, so many things, Guru Rinpoche did so many things. So what's the essence of it? So very beautiful prayer. So before I explain this text and also read a few lines from that Nyangre Nyima Veser's Tebten, the treasure, the short kind of version of Liu Duma 7 chapter supplication, I will first give the reading transmission so that you all have the authority to read it and then try to study it for your understanding. So before I do this, first thing is the importance of motivation. Even though most of you have those who have entered the path, who have been in the Dharma for so long, you have heard of this 100 times. But we need to hear it 1 billion times, not 100 times. Normally in Tibetan we say Tambe chola gyatsar. There's a Tibetan expression which is like, we have to listen to Dharma 100 times. Now you might think, why we need to listen 100 times or even more? It's because our habits are so strong. Our habits of to do something unwholesome, non-virtuous, something that harms us, something that harms others. Our habits are so strong. Negative emotions, clinging, grasping, fear, all kinds of things, like so much of habit. So, and that habit has kind of somehow over a period of time has established a stronghold in us, and very difficult to reverse that. It is just like somebody who is into drinking. You can imagine that. Intellectually, the person who is into drinking, he or she might know that this is not good, it is harmful. And when the doctor explains, he or she would say, yeah, I know. But then, the habit is so strong that, the habit takes like overpowers, you can say, overpowers the sense of reason. So therefore, we need to listen again and again to reverse that habit. And that habit is the strongest, and the root of all the bad habit is, that actually lead us to samsara, lead us to pain and suffering, is self-grasping. And the best antidote to it is bodhicitta. Generating the mind of awakening. So when we were in the Shedra, I shared this many times. We studied like 9 years, Every day we go to the classes, and in every teaching session, the teacher will start, the Khenpo will start, Ma Nam Ka Da Nyambe. It's like, just think about all the sentient beings, mother sentient beings. And then we hear it so many times, and sometimes we feel like, why, this again and again? We already know it. But then, after many years, then we come to know that when this is done on repeatedly, many times, 100 times, 1,000 times, million times, and billion times, then it really goes into our subconscious level, and it really works on our habit unknowingly, So that's why motivation, again and again, even if it is so boring, you have to force it. We have to force our mind and our thoughts to kind of cling to that as a kind of a support, and try to bring our mind into that altruistic, open-minded, warm-heartedness, giving your space, leaving a space and opening up for all sentient beings. And that is so important. And the Tibetan word for motivation is kunlong. And I think this explanation I heard it's from Nyoshu Khenpo. It comes from Nyoshu Khenpo. Kun is like many things. Kun is everything. So we have many things in our mind, in our thoughts, in our emotions. Out of those, pick one. Long is like give rise to one, the best of our thoughts, you can say, give rise to that. And what is that? That is bodhicitta, isn't it? Kun Long. So Longchen Ba also said, okay, make sure that whatever little bit of good things that you do, virtuous things that we do, it can be like may look very insignificant. It might be like sitting down for a minute quietly and watching your thought. It may be like offering like a piece of a stick of incense, or maybe lighting a lamp, or maybe going round a temple, or going to pilgrimage, or all kinds of activities, Make sure before we do that, we prepare well. What is preparation here? Don't just jump into it. Prepare. So what is preparation? Jorwa, same case. Jorwa is like preparation, So like when we go for holiday, you just go for holiday, You just don't go. You prepare. You prepare well so that, your trip will be good, So preparation is so important. Jorwa Semke. And what is that preparation? Mindset. Have the right mindset. Have the right motivation. Have the right intention. Bring the best version of yourself. And that is bodhicitta. That is altruistic motivation. And that really directly kind of works upon our selfish grasping, because there is so much of clinging, there's so much of habit, there's so much of habituation that from beginningless time until now, and which actually closes our mind, which makes us like closed, which doesn't makes us like open-minded, spacious, And that is what we call the root of samsara, why we are suffering, why we are in pain is all because of self-grasping. And to give a break to that is the motivation of bodhicitta. Then, so let's just kind of take maybe a few seconds just to dwell on that. Just few seconds. It won't take long. To give rise to that motivation, to give rise to that warm-heartedness, opening our heart, opening our mind. Just 30 seconds, okay? Okay, thank you. Now we move on to, along with bodhicitta. When we have bodhicitta, then it's like our vision, our perception, or looking at all beings, including ourselves, is something that is that we can call unconditioned love, or something that has the element of embracing rather than rejecting, right? So embracing, when we have open heart, open mind, we embrace everyone. No matter how, like in the Bodhisattva's practice, we can find, no matter how our approach should be, no matter how sentient beings are cruel, sentient beings are stupid, ignorant, how aggressive, how annoying, how irritating, we can say they are. But deep down, we feel the love for them. We embrace them because we know that all of them have the potential to do good, to be virtuous, to be wholesome. And bodhicitta actually again lays the foundation of pure perception. When we go to the higher level in the Tantra practice, then the basic necessity is we need pure perception. When we embrace all sentient beings with the heart of bodhicitta, then that actually lays the very foundation of pure perception, because we know that each and every sentient being has a potential. They have the seed of Buddha in them. They have the seed of goodness. Basic goodness is there. They have the light in their hearts. Even though right now it's not manifesting, So that's how pure perception is born. Pure perception is not something that comes from above. No. Kundu Sangpo doesn't bestow us pure perception. It should be developed from our side, from the foundation, right? So therefore, developing pure perception is so important, and this forms what we call the prerequisite to listen to Vajrayana teachings. Of course, formally you need abhisheka, you need like empowerment, as we have mentioned that you need to have Guru Rinpoche empowerment. Of course, formally we should be introduced to that. We should be kind of formally, we need to be led into that mandala of Guru Rinpoche, right? And which actually enables us to kind of explore the world of Guru Rinpoche and how to kind of emulate him, how to actualize his state, how to reach to that state, how to accomplish his state, you know. So, but the thing is, if we don't have the foundation of pure perception, which is bodhicitta in our heart, where what involves is embracing all beings. Like in the Bodhisattva's, precepts, we talk about to see sentient beings as wish-fulfilling gem, something of benefit to us, something that is helpful for us, something that is good for us, not like rejection, So pure perception, I'm just coming to the pure perception. That is so important, when we have the pure perception of perceiving all beings having the potential, then only we can really have the, the possibility to see, see one's guru, one's teacher, who introduced us to Vajrayana, who explained to us what are the tantric paths and how to practice. To see them as Buddha can be a possibility, right? If you don't have that, understanding of embracing all beings, seeing the light and goodness in the hearts of all beings, then all of a sudden we come to Vajrayana, and then we, we kind of try to meditate or visualize the human being master who is in front to be a Buddha in person. It's impossible. So laying the foundation, I will go to this a little bit later, like in my introduction. So right now what I'm trying to say is pure perception is so important, that when we have pure perception, then there is a possibility to really kind of shine forth the good qualities that is within us, and we can also see the good qualities in others, the good qualities in the universe, whatever. So then the possibility of Shinkan, Buddha field, there is a possibility, because if we just imagine Buddha field to be somewhere, far away, there are like flocks of, assembly of Buddhas in their own realm. So it's unreachable, It's not like that. Shinkan actually is the projection of our inner qualities. Buddha field is a projection of our inner qualities, a reflection or projection of our inner qualities. So when we understand that, then the Guru Yoga practice, all the, immersion of, samaya sattva and, wisdom, deity, jnana sattva, inseparable, all this kind of like becomes a possibility and feasible. Otherwise, it will be like, there's a very famous Tibetan saying, it's called Rago Lukjar. And this, I think you should keep in your write down. Rago Lukjar is like, if you try to fit a goat is like the god that gives goat, sorry for the pronunciation, goat, fitting the goat head into a sheep's body, so it's like mismatch, isn't it? So what I'm trying to say, the meaning is that, okay, practically we always perceive that impure, shit, all the shit, this person is irritating, that person is irritating, this annoying, what is going on in the world is so depressing, all the kind of, impurities and, all the kind of bad things, and that we feel like is the reality. Our perception is something like that. And then all of a sudden we sit down and visualize Guru Rinpoche like pure, you know? Okay, Guru Rinpoche pure, Guru Rinpoche's realm as pure. How is that possible? You know, there is a huge gap there, you know? We consider ourselves as shitty, and then whoever surrounds us as shitty, and all of a sudden when you go to before the shrine and then the prostration, and then you try to switch off that shitty thing and then try to visualize something pure. That doesn't work, you know. So that is, you know, we need to know like how this in the Buddha's teachings, in the level of teachings, how this progresses, like how in the different levels of Buddha's teaching, how it progresses from the nature of samsara to the highest of, you know, the unsurpassable tantra, highest of Dzogchen Chenpo, how it kind of culminates into that. There is a story. There is a what do you call that? A process, you know, which we should not kind of leave unnoticed for our own sake as practitioners, you know. So that's what I want to say. And therefore, like coming back to developing a pure heart, a good heart, and then developing pure perception, you know, that will be our motivation, attitude of listening. And then now I will just move on to the lung so that, you know, at least there will be some progress in the main thing. Kyamne kundu Guru Rinpoche la soa deva samde kundu. That's the reading transmission. That's the title. Samde kundu emao nawe ngwe pema yogi shing pinso ngosar keba jamlebe. Dungi namkar yito chutin yu senti chuge ninde dengi teng tsawe lama ugen Rinpoche kamar dande tsenda peje zo chudu natsu shidwe nyamjar bar. Chaye doje yombe tebu nam sanyom betsu kadam yune ten ula pesha melong goido gen kula sangbe chuge saber lup shapsong doje kimo tungche de nangdong jaser wepung lona shuk tamzi ishe döne yerme ba rinzin lama kungi chisukche gendun dube tsugen doje ku tamje charbe denen gyazo song choju sanje seje ishe tu yönden goido chokzul norgila tinle kanto chujong tsogi je gyabgin dube ngo lamer sel nada kanyam doa malu nam gosung kube chaze choba bul digdung kunsha gela je irang chogor korshin takbar shususol gezo lame chanju chembol ngo keshe mögu tabe so derna chenla charchen pobji guru je gosung yeme onye Rinpoche ramjan zasun yongi kolo gyur tada ngaya lingdu tashu kyang tuje jube pyola lakbar gong tizum tsagyo lame kyabda che Zambuling de Namta Samye Tun Kusung Tuyun Tinle Mejungwa Zeji Dongshu Tabe Sowa de Luda Longje Teba Mebar Bul Dine Sunde Chanju Ingbe Par Gombo Kyole Kyapshen Machibe Deme Jesu Songshi Pema Jung Nuju Tamje Nemu Tsunjuk So Ningme Goba Soji Pema Jung Chaju Tube Lochu Tadole Digi Pela Georgi Pema Jung Tenzin Chona Shabe Kejaten Tinle Gebar Zoji Pema Jung Gendun Deda Shidu Tembe Pel Sasun kyabar zoji pema jung daja namja geshi tseswe ge samgun drubar zoji pema jung tardu dese doa malukun tabe shindu tongshi pema jung tsozo dibjang sangchen nyurlamne chogi ngudrup zoji pema jung donan dichi pardo negabgun kidu lenge sangye chi jungyang zawe lama ugin chenpo ken samden chushin drubar chingi lop maung benzang guru pema sidi hung Ojen lame Samsung Wesergi Daju Jin Dibjang Wangda Ngudrup Zol Chiwe Pemo Deme Tashu De Pende Samgun Drube Tashi Zol. So this finishes the lung of the main text. Then I will give the lung of the the abbreviated version of Liu Duma by Nyangre Nyima Yoser, terma revealed by Nyangre Nyima Yoser. Emma Ho, Tome Sanje, Chugu Kundo Sang, Gyawa Ramjan Kiko Longchuzo, Kanla Kandu, Kaju Tubeku, Kusun Yeme, Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chingisi, Chingi Loshe, Tarbe Lamna Dong, Nawa Taye Sanje Yobame, Jiden Wanju, Chamgun Cheresik, Kingorzo, Tadong Heruka, Kungi Dani, Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chingisi, Chingi Loshe, Tarbe Lamna Dong, Dana Kosha Peme Busu Chung, Oyen Chugi Gabe Gasize, Nagi Mako Time Tubeko, Sisum Tsume, Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chengisi, Chingi Lopshi, Tarbe Lamna Tong, Labjan Tarjin, Zamlin Kebecho, Tishu Tarjin Mamo Tendu Pol, Duba Tarjin Nansi Wangdu Du, Tamje Kemba, Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chengisi, Chingi Lopshi, Tarbe Lamna Tong, Puyu Usu Lasin Tamlata, Ngada Gabe Gongba Zobarse, Kade Malu Rinzin Salako, Dowe Dencho Oyen Rinpoche Soa de So Tuji Chengisi Chingi Lopshi Tarbe Lamna Dong Lejen Tendo Sabder Bumda Be Ngusum Chishin Chirap Longdenze Deme Tuji Kyongwa Shegishe Tusum Kunje Oyen Rinpoche Soa de So Tuji Chengisi Chingi Lopshi Tarbe Lamna Dong Dene Ngaya Peme Lingdu Do Tseju Jungre Pedo Wangosong Yingme Semjen Medung Tsewa Jen Dowe Kyamgun Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chengisi, Chingi Lopshi, Tarbe Lamna Tong, Chimen Doji, Tabu Kobanye, Rono Dugwa Simbo Kanenze, Gyawa Shenle, Tuji Ngosarche, Dogen Gyabje, Oyen Rinpoche, Soa de So Tuji Chengisi, Chingi Lopshi, Tarbe Lamna Tong, Dine Sunde, Tarba Matoba, Rese, Gyamne, Shena Machibe, Yeme Tuji Chengi, Dala Sik, Choda Tumunguru, Dala Zol, Kada Ribe, Ngotone Gyam, Nyudo Keranda Bo Chingi Lo. So this finishes the lung of the abbreviated version of Liu Dima, 7 chapters supplication. Okay, so before going to the main text, as I mentioned before, I will do a little bit of background of how we reach up to the Guru Yoga practice, as I mentioned earlier also that right away, it's mind-boggling actually to expect all practitioners, especially beginners, or those some maybe many years in practice, to expect them to merge your mind with the Guru's mind, becoming indivisible. And we have to be very honest with ourselves, When we first hear this, it's like, how come? How can these two be one, For our mind, for our ordinary mind, is very difficult. And to expect that from practitioners, even though we spend years and years in practice, years and years in study, contemplation, for them also is a challenge. Let alone those who are new. So Guru Yoga is not that easy, If we can take it easy, we say there's a Tibetan word called Ngombe Ngagel, assume. We can assume that, I, Guru's mind and my mind is inseparable. And of course, we can have developed devotion through that, and we can generate faith, right? But then how is it possible? We have to ask ourselves, how is this possible, right? We have to ask. And for that, to have that a little bit of a thread, like a seed of that is so important, at least on an understanding level, To be able to do it directly, of course, it involves years of meditation, yeah? So we should never stop doing it, actually, Again, we should not have that tendency that, Guru Yoga is easy, It's Ngondo practice. It's not that, high generation stage practice, completion stage practice. It's not Dzogchen even, if you higher practice, if you speak about. So there is always again a tendency to underestimate and brush aside, and we have to be like very honest with ourselves as practitioners, and we have to be humble. So just to give you an idea about like when we, as you know, that when the first time after Shakyamuni Buddha, 2600 years back, when he got enlightened under the Bodhi tree, then he said one verse he uttered, and in that kind of like stanza or verse, there are two things. The first thing is like there's so much joy that he has discovered the truth, but then that joy is followed by a dilemma. What is the dilemma? The dilemma is that how can I share it with others? How will people actually react to it? Because people won't accept it, the truth. Why people won't accept it is because it is so profound. It's simple, but it's very profound. It's peaceful. When you talk about peaceful, again, peace, again we can have our own understanding. But here peace means like when all the passions, when all the neurosis that we have in our mind has been quietened, pacified, complete peace, Sabha Shiva, profound, peaceful, non-elaborate. Non-elaborate is like you can't think of it. The moment we think, we will always think about subject and object, thinker and the thought is being involved. So the truth is something where these are not involved, beyond, non-elaborate. It can't be expressed. No matter how it is said in the teachings that the Buddhas may, like for billions and billions of eons, they might speak about the truth. They might give examples, this, that. All will boil down to one thing, and that is they will just end up being the finger and not the moon. So when somebody shows you, where's the moon? Then the finger, that's the moon. Moon is there. And what we, as, we are not to be blamed because we are conceptual. We work on concept, we function because of concept. So therefore, we have no choice but to look at the finger instead of the moon. So no matter how much of explanation of teachings is there, it will always end up like the word, subject, object, oriented. So therefore, non-elaborate. Sabha Shiva Teba Deva. Sabshi Tuetel. OSL is luminous. So the inner light, the essence of our mind, the essence of our thought, our emotions is like pure. It's pure, it's clear light, it's luminous. It's kind of free from all stains, free from all obscurations, free from all veils. And the most difficult part is like it's dumaje, it's uncompounded. You can't bring like 2 and 2 together and make 4, It doesn't work like that. You bring many things together, cause and condition, and you create the truth, ultimate truth. It doesn't work like that because it is unconditioned, uncompounded. So very difficult for a conceptual mind the mind that works only on the level of, with references. Without references, the mind can't operate. Without subject object, the mind can't operate. So very difficult. Then therefore he said, like, I found this nectar like Dharma, the truth. After years of meditation, after years of merit, accumulating merit and all of that, I found this truth, which has these qualities. But the dilemma is that people won't understand it, people won't accept it, people won't appreciate it. So therefore, I think the best thing is like just be quiet and be in the forest and meditate and experience whatever he's experiencing, whatever he's enjoying. Yeah. Then after that, there was this, request to turn the wheel of Dharma. Please share your truth. You have worked so hard. I mean, it is such a shame if people don't really hear what you have to say about what you have realized, what you have discovered, and therefore, please teach. Then there's this request. And then he, for the first time, after 7 weeks of enlightenment, then he turned the wheel of Dharma. Now, I won't go very much into detail of the first turning of wheel of Dharma and all of that, but essentially what I would like to point out is like, in the first turning of wheel of Dharma, he kind of, because directly he can't jump to the truth, because that is too much. It would be like overdosage, of medicine, People might be shocked and they will kind of run away. They will right away reject and run away, right? So he first he laid the foundation. See, life is characterized by pain and suffering. Or you say life is a rough ride. It won't be easy. It's a rough ride. And it's a universal truth. We all experience it. Truth of suffering. But it does not come like out of the blue. The pain and suffering that we experience in life, it is not just without cause and condition. It comes with cause and condition. And what is that? The cause of suffering. And that is, the emotions that we have, painful emotions. And then, but there is a possibility, the good thing about, just as every cloud has a silver lining, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, there is hope. That kind of darkness, that ignorance, that delusion is something that you can do away with, remove it, overcome it, So the truth of cessation, and there is a path. There is a path which can lead to that cessation, So there is this, first we need to recognize what is our problem, then the cause of the problem, the possibility of a solution, and the path to the solution, 4 noble truths. And so I think it's very maybe I don't know whether this will be a compliment or maybe denigration, but it's very scientific, isn't it? First, we need to know, if we have a problem with our body, with our mind, we have to accept that there is a problem, isn't it? And then we go and try to see what is the cause of that problem and whether there's a cure, and whether there is a, medication or, the way out of that, to bring about recovery. So the essence of the 4 noble truths, as you find in the 4 seals, is one thing, that to cut the root of samsara, we need to know that we as individuals are not kind of like a stand-alone thing. We are not, in a way, we are not independent entities. we are made up of many collections of so many things put together. Suppose like we take the individual, like for example me. So I have so many facets, aspects, you know. So because I wear this robe, then there's this tag of Buddhist monk or Tibetan monk, and then beneath that a person, you know, which has the facet of nationality, language, culture, religion, food habits, thought processes, way of thinking, way of responding, you know, all these minute details. All of this actually makes this person. So this person is not like standalone. It's not independent. But the thing is, like, we fail to recognize it. We think that I am so and so. And very strongly, it's not like soft one, it's a very hard one. Particularly in this modern age. Entity. We say credentials, isn't it? What are your credentials? So without that, we can't define ourselves, but we fail to recognize that we are like made up of so many factors, conditions. And when somebody praises us, we feel like full of like us, full of us. And we can feel that, oh, there is this something, there's heart within that, there's some concrete, some substantial thing in there, in the maybe in the core of our being, there is something there. The person is there, even though it is not, even though it doesn't exist, right? And when somebody insults us, say a like nasty thing to us, and we react with anger, with aggression, and we at that moment we feel like very strong sense of self, very strong entity. So that actually is the, you know, where the problem lies. And therefore, to remedy this situation, Buddha taught in the first turning of wheel of Dharma, he introduced the concept of no self. It might be shocking. I think like I heard this many times when Tibetan Lamas first went to the West and we talked about Dagmeba. There's no self, there's no person. So shocking in a culture where self is so important. Self-esteem, self-respect, what not, self-development, you know. So going to the core of where the problem lies, Buddha taught that we are composite phenomenon, composite, made up of many things. Without the air, without the water, without the person who serves our tea and food and, you know, the shops and, you know, the whatever we want to buy, we go and, I mean, all of this actually contributes to our well-being and our sustenance, our survival. And sometimes we might think that, oh, you know, I paid my money. This is my hard-earned money, I'm buying it. And we strongly feel that. But no, like you can't eat money, right? So many factors put together, like if we like in a family, like now again, it's very difficult to actually give the example of family also, because family is already mostly gone, you know, there's no family as such, so difficult. But in any case, like community, we live in a community, we live in a group. And then suppose we are in a room and then, you know, we are a few individuals, we can see like how one person's mindset or, you know, emotional state actually affects the others. You know? We might think that I'm very independent. I'm a self-made person. You know, I'm independent financially, you know, I stand on my feet and so forth. But we will be suffocated to be in that environment where there are people who are negative, people who are like minds are disturbed, you know. So that actually shows that how dependent we are, not independent, how dependent we are. And that is what Buddha introduced, that you are dependent, not independent at all. Don't think that you are financially independent. Don't think that you are so and so independent, right? And that's the root of samsara. And you have to work on it. That's what Buddha taught. Now, in the second turning of wheel of Dharma, he goes a little bit further. He says like, okay, just as individual, like he gave the example of that ancient time, you know, they use chariot for transportation, right? So he just tried to use the example chariot. What is the chariot? You know, chariot is not like one solid thing. It has many components, parts. In modern day, we can use the example of a car. What is a car? We have windshield, we have window panes, we have wheels, we have engine, we have steering, we need the driver, we need the fuel. All of this, like if one of that, you know, all the component within the components, if one breaks, it doesn't move. Where is the car then? It doesn't function. So dependent. So like that, individual is also like that. Don't think like that we are independent. So like that, just as person, individuality is not independent. It is interdependent. It is interdependent on many facts and factors. In the same way, all phenomena like that. It can be house, it can be the aeroplane, it can be forest, it can be mountain, it can be organization, it can be it can be Google, it can be Meta, it can be Facebook, it can be anything. Everything dependent, made up of many factors. So when we recognize this, then what actually help us? First, we need to understand it on an intellectual level, and then slowly it comes down to the emotional and psychological level, that this so strong grasping is being kind of loosened. You know, it helps us that, and it helps us to loosen the grip on things, and it gives us what we call some kind of solace, some kind of peace, you know. So the whole concept of emptiness, you know, emptiness, in other words, because it can be misleading, emptiness is not nothingness, and there's so much of clarification on that you can find everywhere. I always share this particular statement, two lines, which actually sums up the whole concept about emptiness, as nothing is independent and everything is interdependent. Interbeing, interconnected. Everything is so interconnected, right? So somehow, like when we have this understanding, there's some kind of humility creeps in us. We will never ever neglect, underestimate anybody, anything, you know. We will kind of consider everything kind of precious, you know. So emptiness. Now, when we talk about emptiness, now the question comes like, oh, if everything is empty, then what is this whole thing about, you know, what is the use of going kind of practicing the path, because everything ultimately doesn't exist and so forth. So then to respond to this, then the third turning of wheel of Dharma comes, the clarity, luminosity. Even though things do not exist, like our mind also, the mind, which is the main kind of like phenomenon, which actually drives us, you know, in either to samsara or nirvana, the mind, it has so much of potential, right? And even though it's empty, it lacks inherent existence. Even though it is not kind of independent, it's not single, it is not concrete, substantial, it lacks inherent existence. Yet it has the what we call its own character. Rangshin Selva is like, I think, you know, the Padmakara people, they translate as character, and it's quite good. It talks about from the appearance aspect of our mind, which is luminous. It has its character. Everything has its own character. In the same way, what is the character of our mind? The essence of the character of our mind, the ultimate, you can say, nature is luminous, free from stains, purity, pure. Now, in terms of pure, I will give you one example. Purity. I always give this example. Maybe it's easier for us to kind of imagine and maybe digest the whole concept about purity. Is the fact that, you know, as you know, like in Singapore, you know, because of the country lacks drinking water, they don't have rivers and pure drinking water. What they do is now they are treating sewage water and then making it drinkable. Now imagine sewage water, how can it be drinkable? Just don't say that, oh, it's possible because of technology. But imagine, like, if you were to give like a bottle, and right away, like on a glass of water which is treated from sewage water, we would definitely kind of won't jump, right? You say like doubt, how can this be pure, right? You know, so that will be our reaction, isn't it? But this is the reality. This is truth. Many people drink it, they sustain, they live on it. Now the question here is like, how? Is because of technology, isn't it? Science and technology has made it possible. But then, of course, you can give credit to science and technology. But the main thing is that the purity of water has not been lost. The essence of purity is always remain intact there. And that's why it was treatable. That's why it is treatable. If within the very essence of the water, if it is like polluted, then you can't really treat it, you know? So we can understand like that. Okay, no matter how strong our negative emotions are, no matter how strong our self-grasping are, no matter how strong our habits are, you know, within the purity of our mind, the purity of our minds like remain intact, no matter how long, billions of years or eons and so forth. So that luminous aspect, the purity aspect, in the teachings always give the example of clouds and the sun, you know. The sun is characterized by the light, you know. The sun shines, you know, but then the clouds can cover it, you know. It can be obscured by the clouds. But within the very nature of the sun, you know, the clouds can't enter, isn't it? So in that way, no matter how, you know, polluted our mind may be, the essence of our mind can't be polluted. And that is luminous. And it has all the qualities, good qualities, you know. So that's the main subject of the third turning of wheel of Dharma. So we have this, even though the mind doesn't exist, it lacks inherent existence like all other phenomena, yet the nature, very nature is pure, you know. So then we come to this kind of like conclusion that each and every sentient beings have this quality. And in terms of the quality of that purity of that mind, There is no difference between sentient beings and the Buddhas. There is no difference between the saint and the sinner. All of them have that. The only difference is whether one has recognized and worked on it or not. So, which means to bring us a lot of hope. If our very nature is selfish, just like if the very nature of water can be polluted, then there's no hope. It's a hopeless situation. So Buddhism, what Shakyamuni Buddha taught about emptiness, about luminosity, brings a lot of hope, a lot of courage. No matter how bad, no matter how negative, no matter how tragic the world has become, but there's always a hope. So the third turning of wheel of Dharma, when we understand, when we bring these two aspects of emptiness and luminosity together, and then, the whole of the Tantra kind of, practices of purity, of, pure realm, of Buddhas, of mandalas, of kind of all these beautiful kind of elaborations of purity, expressions of purity, manifestations of purity becomes a possibility, becomes a, what do you call that, feasible, Otherwise, as I said before, it will be like, mismatch, total mismatch. Okay, so in order to just go to the text, now in this text, we talk about Guru Rinpoche. The main theme is Guru Rinpoche. So now, we need to bring that understanding of the mind in its pure state, because that is the possibility that, we can remove those obscurations, defilements, all those stains, and the purity manifest as the clouds kind of are removed, the sun shines forth. In the same way, the inner qualities, you call it wisdom, compassion, patience, bodhicitta, loving kindness, equanimity, joy, all these beautiful inner qualities manifest in a person, right? So therefore, we can imagine that Guru Rinpoche is one of them who actually managed to do so, like Shakyamuni Buddha, like all other Buddhas, existent Buddhas, who kind of managed to work on their emotions and they manifested their inner goodness. So one of the reasons, like if you have studied Gyulama in the Uttara Tantra, that they give 3 reasons why sentient beings can achieve Buddhahood and how they are inherently, in their essence, they have Buddhas, is that because in the past, Mr. XYZ has managed to do that, or Miss XYZ has managed to do that. In the past, great personalities, great masters, great beings have managed to purify that, remove those clouds and manifested the sun or the light from their being. So therefore, Guru Rinpoche here, you can understand a state who has actually achieved that state of omniscience, where the mind is cleansed of from all kinds of obscuration, all the limitations. So filled with what we call the qualities of body, enlightened speech, enlightened mind, enlightened quality, enlightened activity, and infinite, because it is uncompounded, because their wisdom mind is uncompounded, they are everywhere. They are not bound by time and space. So that's why when we pray to Guru Rinpoche, why it help us, why it actually, when we pray to Buddhas, why this result of that, there's a response to that, our prayer, is because they are not kind of like time bound. They are not kind of space bound. So everywhere they are omniscient, omnipresent, you can say. So therefore, like just as in the teachings, that's like whoever has the aspiration, whoever has the devotion, has the faith, right in front is the Buddha. Right in front is Guru Rinpoche. And Guru Rinpoche said, like in his teachings, very beautifully, he said, like, for those who are faithful, Padmasambhava is at the door. It's not far away. So why he's at the door? Like, why he's always at the door of everyone is because of his unlimited, infinite, uncompounded wisdom mind, compassion, where all the limits of the mind, dualism, everything is being shattered there. So spacious, openness, limitless, infinite, boundless, wisdom and compassion. So that's why there's a response. So if we understand Guru Rinpoche to be with these qualities as in all other Buddhas, then it's easy. Like first we understand that, okay, it's possible for each and every one of us that to have that quality, because the seed, because the light, the spark is in each and every one of us. And those who have managed to kind of manifest that fully, like with all the dirts and veils and obscurations and defilements gone, where the mind has shattered all its boundaries of dualism, positive, negative, this subject, object, all of that. When it's being shattered, then that possibility of that kind of limitless wisdom and compassion. And for that, if we get that understanding, that it won't be difficult to really imagine even this very place as a pure realm, right? Because it's all about perspective, isn't it? It's all about perception. So the prayer starts, like if you read from the beginning, Emaho, everything that appears is the realm of lotus light. So each of the Buddhas have their different names for the respective Buddhas. So what is the pure realm of Guru Rinpoche is the realm of lotus light. Guru Rinpoche is specific. Like for Amitabha, it's Sukhavati, isn't it? So like that, each and every one have their own kind of pure realm. Now again, if we think that, just as we talk about Nupchok Devachan, Amitabha's pure realm to the west. Now again, if you think that, west, it's only in the west, and Sukhavati is only in the west and it's not to the east. If you think in that way, then very, very wrong, wrong understanding. Now then why west? Why it's mentioned in the west? Because we need some reference. If you say like Amitabha is nowhere, it's everywhere, then we'll be confused, isn't it? Sukhavati is everywhere. If you say it like that, it's difficult for this feeble mind to kind of to relate to, So then these directions, colors, specific emblems, different, number of heads, number of arms, all of this, we need to know this. So everything that appears is the realm of lotus light, Guru Rinpoche's realm, a perfectly amazing and boundless display in front of us in the middle of a cloud of pleasing offerings. Sitting upon a lion throne, lotus and sun and moon seat, is our root guru, the precious one from Odhyana. Now, when we talk about purity, so purity should all, because the purity manifests from within, then it kind of like, it reflects, or it's being projected to the atmosphere or the environment also. So when the purity is achieved from within, then it's like everything seems pure. I mean, just to give you an example, when your mood is so good, when you're joyous, then when you look out, the place where you live, and you look out the trees, so beautiful, so beautiful. The altar, the table, the chair, and whatever things that you have, it seems so nice because your mood is good. Everything is so kind of appealing, Now, if your mood off, you have some tension, you are in anger, you're anxious, then everything seems so fearful. The same place, it's the same place. And because of our emotion is being negative, is projected outside, and therefore everything seems black, fearful, not endearing, like just want to be out of this place, to go somewhere, that kind of feeling is there, So when the purity from within is manifested, it is being projected to the, So Guru Rinpoche's mandala, because the purity of Guru Rinpoche's the pure realm, and then we talk about the universe and the habitat, inhabitants. So universe and inhabitant, who lives in there. So in the Guru Rinpoche's pure realm lives Guru Rinpoche. And how does it look? So that's the features of, he sits on a lion throne, lotus, sun and moon seat, and upon which sits our Tsawe Lama, Ugyen Rinpoche, Guru Rinpoche. Now again, Tsawe Lama. Difficult, Tsawe Lama. Root teacher, we say root teacher, like just if you think like a root teacher, what is this root is? What is root is doing there? Like kind of a tree root, a root guru, main guru. So in the secret mantra or the Vajrayana, somebody, a great being who has been kind enough to bestow upon us ripening empowerments, liberating instructions, pit instructions, and that actually such a person is considered to be a root guru, because the person, that guru actually introduced us into this concept of purity, because before that we haven't heard of it, We are only like through, like if we have not come to Vajrayana, or just kind of not come to Buddhism, and also in Vajrayana, very difficult to imagine, very difficult to imagine about the purity, to have that, to get that idea and the view about purity, So Vajrayana, in the Vajrayana, we are being introduced into that. How does it work? So everything is pure, Only thing is we don't there's dust there in our eyes, the lens. Our lens is stained. We need to remove these dirts, and we can see beautiful, nice, good, perfect. In the imperfections, we can see perfection, That is the, promise that Vajrayana makes, right? So so precious. Somebody who introduced us to this is so precious because we have never heard of this before, right? So Tsawe Lama. And the Tsawe Lama is like in the human form means you'll feel like, oh, you know, he's a little bit like, as in the Guru Yoga practice is mentioned that if you visualize, there's also a tradition where you just visualize the human Lama as it is, as he or she is, right? But mostly like what is preferred is that we visualize Guru Rinpoche in a perfect form, you know, good looking, handsome, you can say, nice looking, you know, and with all the qualities, you know. And why we do so is because then when we visualize that Guru Rinpoche is perfect, and then in essence, Guru Rinpoche that we visualize is our human Guru, not separate. They are, in essence, in spirit, they are same. You know, in essence, they are same. So, in essence, it's our human Guru who gave us this teaching and who, you know, introduced us into Vajrayana. But on appearance level, Guru Rinpoche, nice, perfect. So that's what is it. Tsawe Lama Ugyen Rinpoche. He has a rosy white complexion and he bears the major and minor marks, all the physical attributes, qualities. Young, 16 years old, blazing with 100 peaceful and wrathful expressions, different expressions, not really boring. He holds a vajra in his right hand, in his left a vase in a skull, his secret concert hidden as the trident resting in his left arm. So Guru Rinpoche has a trident, and the trident actually symbolizes the trident that you can see to the left elbow, symbolizes his secret concert. Now again, here like male and female, it's kind of again this symbolic kind of, in the tantric deities you'll find symbolism of male and female deities in union with each other, right? And that again, like if you do not understand what is the idea behind it, what is its symbolic meaning, then on appearance level we might see it like, oh, some erotic things happening, right? You know, so it's important to know like what it symbolizes. The male symbolizes the method aspect, the compassion aspect, and the female symbolize the wisdom aspect. And for enlightenment, we need both. We need the union of both, wisdom and compassion. And his head adorned with the lotus hat, mirror, and vulture's feather, he wears the secret gown, dharma robes, and a brocade cloak. His legs folded in the vajra posture, he sits within an orb of rainbow light, appearing yet empty. Now, again, just to make sure that, again, this visualization or practice doesn't fall back to kind of like, you know, a path to enter the samsara, fall into samsara. This view of appearance yet empty yet appearing. Now this is the key word that we always need to avoid forgetting, you know, in whatever deity practice that we do, like always, whatever we visualize, whether we visualize in Guru Rinpoche, Tara, Avalokiteshvara, Shakyamuni Buddha, whatever we visualize, so beautiful, appealing, like rainbow, but then it's not substantial, concrete, solid, you know, like that. Empty yet appearing. So that's very important. That brings in again the view of, you know, how we practice. From the beginning, the commitment being has been inseparable from the wisdom being. Now, we have two aspects, Guru Rinpoche that we have imagined and Guru Rinpoche in reality, you know, so we have two aspects. The reality is the wisdom being, and that we have imagined is our kind of imagination, our visualization, and they are kind of not separate. Again, they are not separate. Again, this is very difficult to understand, but if we understand the view that I talked about, being uncompounded, being unelaborate, being profound, being peaceful, and all of that, that being unconditioned is like, unconditioned in the sense is that, you know, and for this conceptual mind, if it is white, it can't be black. White and black are kind of, you know, right? So if it is positive, then it can't be negative, you know, positive, negative, again, opposite, you know. So that's how our mind operates. Now, if you say, if we are to kind of introduce into the scenario that in a universe, in a single atom, there is the universe, then it's something out of our mind, of this very kind of limited, closed, limited, feeble mind. So universe is in a single atom is like impossible thing, right? But it's possible, provided we have the vision, provided we have the understanding, and even like scientifically also, like if you try to use like a very strong microscope, you know, and we look into the like leaves, for example, tree leaves, and we just look into that, it's a universe in itself, isn't it? The whole ecosystem is there. And from that we understand, oh, universe in a single atom can be possible, feasible. But right away it's very difficult to digest that. It's impossible, because atom is small, universe is big, and how can a big fit into the small? You know, so that's how our mind operates, you know. So like that, if we bring in the understanding of your purity, then the samaya being, meditated being, and the wisdom being are inseparable. So that's what he's trying to say. As the great embodiment of all Vidyadharas and Gurus, his Vajra body is the crown of all Sanghas. His speech is a rain of the blessed Dharma, an ocean of the Pitakas. His mind is the wisdom of the Buddhas, of the 10 directions and their children. His qualities fulfill all needs and desires like a wealth deity. His awakened activity leads the assembly of Dakinis and Dharmapalas. Essence of all refuges, he is radiant with light. With all the beings that fill space, we bow and make offerings to you with our 3 doors full of devotion. Now, essence of all refuges, he is radiant with light. So that's where like the visualization, the whole visualization stops, like concludes that, okay, we imagine, visualize the pure realm of Guru Rinpoche, Pema, lotus light, and where Guru Rinpoche sits, and Guru Rinpoche with all the qualities. And it's very important, like when we visualize, I think visualization is one of the main problems with every practitioner. It's not like just limited to a certain group of practitioners, you know, because we have so many things to visualize, yeah, so many deities, and because our mind has not accustomed to what we call shine, you know. Shine is the calm, abiding, single-pointedness, and the moment we try to focus on the Guru Rinpoche face, then we forget Guru Rinpoche's like lower body. Or maybe when we are focusing on Guru Rinpoche eyes, we just can't focus Guru Rinpoche ears, and like the detail is not right. So that's because we lack the shine, you know, practice calm abiding. If we have shine, then our visualization can be stronger and more clear. But in any case, this whole visualization is like the text slowly guides us, like, okay, how is Guru Rinpoche like? So because it's good for our imagination, white color, clothes, okay, sitting in this posture upon a throne, all of that is like imageries there, imagery is like is easy for us. So when one of the advice that when we start to visualize on a deity, one of the advice they give is like try to get a tanka, like very nice tanka written by a very good kind of painter, not just kind of an authentic kind of a thing, right? So when then it helps us, okay, because we see a tanka and then we can imagine, but then we have to go a little bit step further. That tanka is flat, it's not 3-dimension, right? So what we visualize is, we need to visualize is a 3-dimension, like real thing, not just kind of flat or some statue, that, because that's what we are used to, right? We always see Guru Rinpoche statue, Guru Rinpoche tanka, which is flat, and statue which is like made of bronze or gold or whatever. So like solid, inanimate kind of a thing, not like that. Like it should be like, we have to visualize in such a way that like Guru Rinpoche is about to speak to us, like he's almost speaking to us, like that kind of, that's important for visualization. And then a most important quality that now, again, in terms of visualization, what the difficulty that we have is, like, suppose we have received so many empowerments, hundreds and hundreds of empowerments. If we attend Rinchen Tezo empowerment, then you'll have like around over 800, maybe 600, 700, 800 empowerments. So many deities, And sometimes even old practitioners, like being in the Dharma for long, also get confused, like feeling that, very funny story is that it's funny, but it's like true. Strange but true. It's like strange but true. There's this Tibetan lady is there. You can imagine like a random Tibetan lady, and she's so devout. Every morning she wakes up and she has this altar, and all the statues of Shakyamuni Buddha, Tara, Avalokiteshvara, nice kind of one statue, gold painted, and we have offerings. And then she starts to prostrate. And then she starts first prostrate to Shakyamuni Buddha 3 times. Then she thought like, that's what she actually shared later on. And she said, if I prostrate to Shakyamuni Buddha, Guru Rinpoche would be offended. Guru Rinpoche will feel left out. Yeah. And then, okay, now I don't like to offend Guru Rinpoche, so 3 prostration to Guru Rinpoche. Then Avalokiteshvara is there. So many statues there, You feel like, Guru Rinpoche left out, Tara left out, it's not to offend, Vajrasattva, and then therefore like, and it might seem funny, but it's like, it's how our mind operates, isn't it? Like, okay, when we do Guru Rinpoche practice, we see like, maybe, within, even with Guru Rinpoche also, maybe Dorje Tole would be better, like Guru Thakpo would be better, wrathful one, in these times, when all the kind of calamities are happening, so that's our mentality, and we feel like the deities, the Buddhas also like have the same like us, jealous and pride and all of that. So actually what the lady shared is even though she shared it like she has been honest, it's like, it is the dilemma of our minds, our conceptual mind. So therefore, then we will never kind of like finish, like if we have 600 deities to practice, We won't have time to breathe even, you know. So like that. So it's important to know that, just as is mentioned here, Guru Rinpoche, you are embodiment of all Vidyadharas and Gurus. Your Vajra body is a crown of all Sanghas. Your speech is like the ocean of Pitakas. Yeah? Your mind is the same as wisdom mind of the Buddhas. You know? Your qualities like fulfill all needs of the and desires like well deity. And your activity is that of all the Dakinis and Dhammapalas. And finally it says, essence of all refuges. There might be hundreds and thousands of Buddhas, but essentially everything is complete in Guru Rinpoche. So when we understand it, how could that be possible? Because they kind of, they worked individually towards enlightenment. How can they be one, you know? That's how we think, right? But wisdom mind, as I said, knows space, beyond space and time, you know? Beyond one and many, you know, one and many, you know. I mean, because for us, like, if there are things, it should be either one or many. You know, there's no in between, right? So not like that. When we talk about the uncompounded wisdom mind, it's one taste. So in Guru Rinpoche, all the wisdom mind of all the Buddhas actually is present there, you know. So this is so important. Otherwise, if you don't recognize this, understand this, then we will always feel like, oh, Guru Rinpoche, when I offer one incense, stick of incense to Guru Rinpoche, then Vajrasattva might be offended, or Mandarawa might be offended, or Ishisogil might be offended, like that, you know. So that's how ordinary mind works. So here it says, essence of all refuges. He is radiant with light. So here our mind is totally into the visualization of Guru Rinpoche, and we feel like contented in the deep, in our hearts, that this is it, you know. Here is the essence of all the Buddha. So I don't need to think about, oh, what will Shakyamuni Buddha do, or what Guru Thapo will do, or so on and so forth, right? So therefore, it's very important to know. And moreover, it is said, Gyawa Thamje Yishilong to Chik. All Buddhas are one in the expanse of primordial wisdom. Until we come to that level of understanding, then we will always like have issues like what the innocent lady, you know, talked about, right? Now after this come the 7 branch practice. So this is to accumulate merit. 7 branch practice is like very common practice that you can find in most of the sadhanas, most of the practices, starting with prostration. We bow, and then next is offering. Prostration is an antidote to pride, because when we bow down, then we are kind of like surrendering, like we don't have pride. We don't have that pride saying that I don't bow down, I won't bow down, you know. There's an expression, I don't buy, you know. We said I don't buy. It's like, oh, I don't accept. So here it's like body, speech and mind, offering yourself with humility. That works as a antidote to pride. Then offering, when you make offerings of anything that is good, it can be incense, it can be water, it can be certain drinks, it can be food, it can be flowers, it can be like just you walk on the road, anything that you find beautiful, the nice kind of lawn, you know, beautiful trees, birds chirping, you know, clear sky, beautiful rainbows, everything that you find beautiful, nice, you make it offer. So that's like giving, you know. That's when you give, when you offer, when you give, that becomes the antidote to stinginess, because we want to keep it for ourselves, you know. This is for me, this is for me, I want this for me, I want this for me. And then because of that attachment, you know, we dare not give. We think that if I give, what will be left for me? So that's our mentality, right? So when you give, offer, it becomes the, of course it accumulates merit, but it becomes the antidote to avarice or stinginess. Then comes the we bow and make offerings to you, and to you with our 3 doors full of devotion. We confess all falls and downfalls. Now, why we wander in samsara, you know, root is self-grasping, then which is driven, which give rise to negative emotions. Negative emotions give negative, brings about negative actions, and that brings about suffering and pain, you know. So therefore, from beginningless time, whatever negative actions that we have committed, we confess. So that actually becomes the antidote to our aggression. Because of aggression, we commit so many unwholesome actions. Then rejoice in the virtue. Because of jealousy, when we hear anybody doing something good, you know, virtuous activity, our instant reaction would be not be like being happy, you know. Rejoicing is very difficult. It's like jealous, feel jealous, you know. So, you know, rejoice in the virtue of others is the antidote to jealousy. Then Chokor Koroshin request you to always remain turning the wheel of Dharma. So actually, first request to turn the wheel of Dharma, which acts as an antidote to ignorance, and request to remain in samsara is the antidote to wrong views. Then followed by dedication, and dedicate all virtue to supreme awakening, which acts an antidote to doubt. It says doubt. Now after this, think of us as we pray with fervent devotion, and pour on us a great shower of blessings, Lord Guru. Now up till here is imploring, like invoking that, you know, I pray, or we pray, I pray with my full devotion. Now again, devotion, this is the integral part of like secret mantra practice. Like without devotion, then blessings won't be there. One of the Kagyu masters, Digung Kyoba Gombo, he said that devotion is like the sun. And when the sun shines upon, like snow-peaked mountains there, when the sun shines on the snow-peaked mountains, and then the stream of water flows down, right? So in the same way, if we have sun-like devotion that shines upon the Buddhas, like full of devotion to your teachers, root guru, and to Guru Rinpoche here particularly, full of devotion, then blessings occur. Now what is blessing? Blessing is transformation of the mind. Blessing occur in the way of transforming our mind. Chin lap, I say chin is power, lap is like to transform. So what kind of transformation? From a selfish mind to bodhicitta, loving mind, caring mind. From a stingy mind to a giving mind. So in that way, some kind of transformation, when we receive blessing, some transformation that happens in our mind, that actually is the blessing. Chinlap, and pour on us a great shower of blessing, Lord Guru. Now from here, Kusum Yerme Unyen Rinpoche. Now here, from here, then starts the from the 7 chapters supplication, first chapter in the 7 chapters supplication, the first chapter talks about how Guru Rinpoche is the inseparable 3 kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. I think most of those who are been in Dharma for long, you already have an understanding of what is the kusum, 3 kayas. Just for beginners, I would like to just share you one thing, like Dharmakaya, you can understand it as the vast expanse of the space, expansive, the wisdom mind of the Buddhas achieving that state where it's free from all obscuration, free from all defilements, free from all veils. And then the mind is like the wisdom mind is like the open space, open sky, cloudless sky. And Sambhogakaya is like within that expanse of the space of the wisdom mind shines forth what we call the moon. The moon is the Sambhogakaya. And then the reflection of the moon, you can understand it as Nirmanakaya. So you see, you have reflection of the moon, then you have the moon, and then you have the space. So what I'm trying to say is the space doesn't have a form, right? Whereas the moon has a form. In the same way, Sambhogakaya has a form, and Nirmanakaya also has a form. Now, why these 2 different forms are there? The Sambhogakaya is like a limited edition, you can say, only for bodhisattvas. We don't have access to them. But Nirmanakaya is not limited. It's like pure beings, impure beings are accessible. Just Shakyamuni Buddha, like for example, 2,600 years back, he came, walked upon this earth, and he guided beings. He taught, he passed away. All this, this is Nirmanakaya, the emanation body. So, Kusum Yerme Oyen Rinpoche, precious one from Odhyana, at one with a threefold body. Now the 2nd chapter talks about Emperor of the Infinite 3 Roots. So what in the 2nd chapter you'll find Guru Rinpoche has, in him, or he is actually the embodiment of Amitabha, he is the embodiment of Avalokiteshvara, he is the embodiment of Heruka, the wrathful deities, peaceful deities, all of that, he represents all of them, He's not like, that he doesn't have the qualities of either, if he is peaceful, he doesn't have qualities of wrathful. If he is wrathful, he doesn't have qualities of peaceful. Not like that. He has all the qualities of the 3 roots of Lama, Yidam, Khando, right? Lama, the root of blessing is the Lama. The root of siddhis, accomplishment, is the deity, and the root of activity, enlightened activity, is the Khando and the protector. So he is embodiment of all. Now, historically, we can say historically, but even though you now reside forever on the island of Chamara, with your compassionate deeds, remember especially those in Tibet. So Guru Rinpoche has a soft heart for the Tibetans, maybe you can say, or the Himalayans. But in any case, there is a special connection of Guru Rinpoche with the beings of the Himalayan region, including Tibet. And as you see, like how Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet, how he kind of joined hands with King Tisong Deusen and Shantarakshita to establish the Buddha Dharma. And before that, what Tibet was considered is a land of darkness, where barbarians kind of live, like unruly, uncivilized, you can say, where the sun of Dharma is not there. And after the Dharma came, through the blessings of, of course, of Avalokiteshvara and Guru Rinpoche. Then, Buddha Dharma was established, right? So that's, even though at this moment, Guru Rinpoche lives in the land of Chamara, his compassion is he's always directed to the beings of Tibet. You are the Supreme Lord of the lineage gurus of the 3 times, who displayed your inconceivable life in this and in this land of Jambudvipa, and your body, speech, mind, and qualities and actions are marvelous. We pray to you one-pointedly with intense longing. So 2 aspects there, to summarize the Liu Duma, 2 aspects are there. One aspect is like the beyond history, right? Beyond history. And then one aspect is within the historical context, that how Guru Rinpoche in person came to Tibet, established Buddha Dharma, and then his main kind of like contribution happens to be like to make sure that Tibet becomes a fertile land of Dharma, because there were a lot of obstacles there, harms from human and non-human spirits, and only Guru Rinpoche could tackle it, has the ability. And because Shantarakshita failed to do so, and then Shantarakshita said, okay, you should invite Guru Rinpoche, and he has the power. And therefore Guru Rinpoche came, and he kind of made kind of the situation at that time conducive, we can say, pacified all those, harmful kind of elements, and then which enabled the king to kind of establish the first Tibetan monastery, samaya, and then enabled the ordaining, we can say, the first monk, first batch of 7 monks, and from then on the Vinaya lineage was established. Of course, that the main role was taken by Shantarakshita, and then followed by whole kind of big kind of project, a mega project, you can say, a mega project of translating the entire canon of Buddhist teachings that were in Sanskrit being translated into Tibetan. And then Guru Rinpoche's contribution, another contribution, important contribution, was to train, individuals, like fortunate individual disciples, by giving like esoteric teachings, Vajrayana teachings. Under his supervision, he gave empowerment instruction, and they achieved like high realization. And that's like a huge contribution and achievement, the first ever kind of siddhas and, realized masters, who are kind of happened in the land of Tibet, thanks to Guru Rinpoche. And then Guru Rinpoche blessed the entire landscape surrounding Tibet and the Himalayan region, making them conducive places to practice. And so we have so many sacred places, hidden lands, and so forth. Lakes, mountains, forest, everywhere, like it's like plains, and everywhere were blessed, And there's one mention of what we call that Guru Rinpoche walked the entire, miraculously entire, place, upon the entire place of Tibet, and blessed it. So therefore, like, it became very conducive for practice. So that's the one thing. And then another biggest contribution is like concealing treasures, concealing Dharma treasures, wealth treasures, earth treasures, so many treasures, like different kind of, in different landscape, in mountains, in rocks, in lakes, in temples, in forest, of course. And then he not only did that, conceal, but also he gave instruction that in the future generation, when there will be special beings called tertons, they will come and reveal those treasures and then benefit beings, because what happens is, like, I think this is important to mention, so I will just mention this because normally when the teaching is being passed down from master to disciple, and when time goes on like this, I think there is one kind of one of the skit that is being done in my teacher training. They say, like, how information gets diluted over a kind of period of time, So there are like people who like line up like this, and then they have to pass the information like this, and then at the end of this, whatever is being taught before, a message is being given, is totally different, comes to the last person, right? So what it means is that, when even with teachings also, when it being passed from generation to generation, sometimes we dilute it, it gets corrupted, so that's the special quality of the treasure teaching, is that it remains undiluted. So it's kind of, that is the specific quality of treasure teaching, because like, as you've seen in treasure teaching, like so many treasure teachings revealed by Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo, right? So they were fresh, unpolluted, fresh, a fresh supply, you can say, fresh supply of teachings, uncorrupted, undiluted. And then when those were practiced, the result were amazing. That's the quality of treasure, and that's Guru Rinpoche's contribution. You won't find this who has done this other than Guru Rinpoche, right? In such a vast and extensive way. So Guru Rinpoche is so special. All of these qualities, when we know and when we remember, then there's no way that devotion doesn't come. Definitely devotion will come. So whatever, I think in this group, there are so many of you practicing different treasure teachings. All of these treasure teachings, you practice, why they are so powerful. You can experience it. Why they are so powerful is because it's kind of nyegyu. We say nyegyu is like close lineage. It is not being like, it has the quality of the teaching, the freshness of the teaching, the validity of the teaching, the relevance of the teaching has remained like very pure, and it has not been kind of corrupted as it being passed from master to disciple. So that's why so special. So I think with this, maybe the 7 chapter supplication, you can, essentialize in that way. We pray to you one-pointedly with intense longing. We offer our body and wealth without a second thought. From now until we reach the heart of awakening, our protector, we have no refuge but you. Please hold us and never part from us, Lotus born. Plagues, famines, wars, and conflicts afflict the whole world. Dispel the decline of this degenerate era, Lotus born. Make rains timely, make harvests and herds thrive, and grant us the splendor of bliss and happiness, Lotus born. Make the supreme Dharma teachers remain present for 100 eons, and their enlightened activity increase, Lotus born. Make the splendor of the Sangha and the teachings of explanation and practice cover the 3 planes, Lotus born. Pacify our obstacles, increase our vitality and merit, and accomplish our every wish, Lotus born. Ultimately, may you lead everyone we meet, without exception, to the Pure Land, Lotus born, by perfecting the accumulation and purifying obscuration on the swift path of the great secret. Grant us the supreme city, Lotus born. So here, to achieve Guru Rinpoche's state, he doesn't say that to go to the lotus light, Pure realm, you have to buy a ticket and fly, you know. You're saying like by perfecting accumulation, purifying obscurations on the swift path of the great secret. So it's not like a physical realm where you can go by plane or rocket or whatever, or spacecraft. Throughout all the Bardo stages, now and in the future, whatever happens, happy or sad, virtuous or faulty, good or bad, our root guru, great one from Odhyana, think of us. Bless us that all our wishes are accomplished in accordance with the Dharma. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhihum. So once you have done this prayer, a supplication, first visualization, 7 branch, then again remembering his qualities related to 7th chapter, then invoking his blessing to kind of remove all the calamities, all the negativities, increase all the positivities until we achieve his state. Then we recite the Vajraguru mantra, Om Beza Guru Brahma Siddhi, as many times as you can. And then finally the dissolution, Guru of Odhyana, by the light rays of your 3 secrets, purify obscurations from our mind stream, grant us empowerment in cities without ever parting, remain forever upon a lotus above our heads, and grant us the auspicious fulfillment of all our wishes for benefit and happiness. And that is the dissolution. Now, all the good things, all the whatever good things that we have done before, like in this practice, we have visualized that. But then again, dissolution. Dissolution is so important. Again, empty yet clear. Empty yet clear. Again, don't cling to it. That is the message here. So becoming one and inseparable with Guru Rinpoche, and then making aspiration that he be never separated. Now, when you say never separate, it's not like being in the one house and living together for many years like that. Never separate here is like, that the qualities of Guru Rinpoche, as we have talked about, body, speech, mind, quality, activity, the enlightened qualities, wisdom, compassion, power, all of that, when we think of that, then our mind actually aspires to achieve those qualities. And when we work towards achieving those qualities by purifying our negativities and accumulating the virtues, merits, then we reach that state, the state of the state of Guru Rinpoche, so to say. Grant us the auspicious fulfillment of all our wishes for benefit and happiness. So I think time is like already 4 o'clock. So from here, I think maybe we stop here and question and answers. Like I think. Maybe like there is a review session coming up, so those of you who have questions can ask during that. And also if there are any specific question like later on which remain unanswered, then I can respond to those. So I think that should be better, I think.
Okay, thank you so much, Khenpo Lahu. Where are you?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khenpo Lahu, for all the details you shared with us, for your enthusiasm and your obvious devotion, and also, your rich and important background that you shared about the text. Thank you so much, Khenpo Lahu. And thank you also to our translators. Some of them are in the middle of the night. Thank you for being so faithful and translating. Thank you, of course, to Tsongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche for the project, to Elvian, our managing editor, to Rashmi and Ina, our background queens, and also to Philippe, who's not here, who is the translator of this text. And as Khenpo Lahu said, there will be a tutorial, and Philippe, Amelia, and I will do that on the 21st of November. We will do it at 9 p.m. European time. We will send it around also in an email. It is a little bit late for Europe because, yeah, our two other friends are in the States, so we have to consider all that. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining, and let's briefly dedicate. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may all beings be free. Lord of the ocean of teachings in Tibet without bias, universal monarch of 7 wondrous transmissions, Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo Manyugosha in person, may all be auspicious for your lineage to spread and flourish. As long as space remains, as long as the world remains, may I too remain to elevate the sufferings of the world. Okay, thank you so much, Khenpo. Wonderful to see you. And see you soon in Berlin, in person.
You're welcome. So everybody have a nice rest wherever you are. I'm also going to take rest now.
Okay.